The top 10 richest people of all time. If you asked anyone to name the richest person in history, most would say Jeff Bezos. He is the CEO of Amazon, an e-commerce giant. Relatively speaking, these modern versions of the richest person in the world are vastly different from those of the past. In modern and ancient history, there have been many fortunes made and lost. There have been many ways that people have built huge amounts of wealth, through blood, through the crown, smart investing, and building powerful businesses. While it appears that many of the world's richest people have made their fortunes through inheritance or business ventures, there has been a lot more violence in history. Who are the wealthiest people ever to have lived? We've been able to compile a video of the 10 richest people of all time. 10. Genghis Khan. He lived from 1162 to 1227 and he had a lot of land and not much else. He ruled Mongol Empire which stretched from China to Europe. It was the largest contiguous empire ever built. Genghis was a powerful man, but scholars claim he never hoarded any of his wealth. His influence was based on his generosity. Morris Rossabi, a distinguished historian at Queen's College CUNY, says that sharing spoils with his soldiers was a key factor in his success. He received a portion of the spoils but it didn't make him rich. Weatherford says that Genghis did not build a palace for his family or himself, nor a temple, tomb, or house. 9. Jeffrey Bezos. Total wealth is $190 billion. Forbes named Bezos the richest person in the world on March 6, 2018. His wealth increased to $100 billion for the first time on November 24, 2017. After this his net worth increased to $150 billion in July 2018. He was the Forbes Wealth Index's first centi-billionaire. He was also named the richest man of modern history. His net worth is around $190 billion in 2021. 8. Alan Rufus, a.k.a. Alan the Red. He lived from 1040 to 1093 and total wealth was $194 billion. Rufus, the nephew of William Conqueror, was also a part of the Norman Conquest. According to authors of The Richest of the Rich book, Philip Beresford, Bill Rubenstein, he died with £11,000. At that time £11,000 was 7% of England's GDP. In 2018, that would be $194 billion. 7. John D. Rockefeller. He lived from 1839 to 1937 and total wealth was $341 billion. Rockefeller invested in the petroleum industry in 1863. According to the New York Times, Rockefeller was worth $1.5 billion. This figure is based on a 1918 federal income return and an estimate of his total fortune. It's almost 2% of U.S. output in that year. According Measuring Worth data, the U.S. didn't keep official records about national income until 1932. In 2019, the same economic share would be equivalent at $341 billion. 6. Andrew Carnegie. He lived from 1835 to 1919 and total wealth was $372 billion. Rockefeller is the most prominent American, but Andrew Carnegie may be America's richest man. In 1901, J.P. Morgan acquired U.S. Steel for $480 million. This sum is equivalent to slightly more than 2.1% of the U.S. GDP in 1901, which gives Carnegie economic power equivalent at $372 billion in 2019. 5. Joseph Stalin. He lived from 1878 to 1953 and he had total control over a nation that has 9.6% of the global GDP. He was a dictator with absolute power and also controlled one of the most powerful economies in the world. Although it is almost impossible to separate Stalin's wealth from that of the Soviet Union's, multiple economists have voted him one of the wealthiest people in history. It is easy to see their logic. The OECD data shows that the USSR accounted for roughly 9.5% of global economic output in 1950, 3 years prior to Stalin's death. This level of production is equivalent to almost $7.5 trillion as of 2019. Although the money was not directly owned by Stalin, He could use Soviet economic might for whatever reason he wanted. George O. Leiber, an historian at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, says that he had tremendous power, and could get anything he desired. He controlled 1/6 of the Earth's land surface without any checks and balances. It's difficult to not include Stalin on the list of most economically powerful people ever. Although his wealth is uncertain, it's clear that Stalin's personal economic power has been unrivaled in recent times. 4. Akbar I. He lived from 1542 to 1605 and he ruled empire with 25% of the global GDP. Akbar, the Mughal dynasty's greatest emperor in India, ruled an empire that accounted roughly for 1/4 global economic output. Fortune's Chris Matthews cites Angus Maddison, late economic historian, who suggests that India's GDP per head under Akbar was comparable with Elizabethan England, but with a ruling class whose lavish lifestyle exceeded that of the European society. Branko Milinovic's data shows that India's elite were wealthier than those in the West. His research also shows that the Mughal dynasty was one of the most successful empires at extracting wealth from the people. 3. Emperor Shenzong. His life expectancy was from 1048 to 1085 and he ruled Chinese Empire with 25 to 30% of the global GDP. China's Song dynasty, 960-1279, was one of the most powerful economic empires. Professor Ronald A. Edwards, an economic historian from China who studied the Song dynasty at Tomkong University, claims that the nation was responsible for between 25% and 30% of world's peak economic output. Edwards claims that the empire's wealth was due to its technological innovations as well as its exceptional tax collection skills, which Edwards said was hundreds of years ahead European governments. Professor Edwards also pointed out that the Song dynasty's government had been highly centralized, which meant that the emperor had enormous control over its economy. 2. Augustus Caesar. He lived from 63 BC to 14 AD and total wealth was $4.6 trillion. Augustus Caesar was responsible for an empire that accounted 25% to 30% of the world's economic output. According to Ian Morris, a Stanford historian, Augustus had personal wealth equal to 1/5 his empire's GDP. This fortune would amount to $4.6 trillion in 2019. Morris says that Augustus owned Egypt for a time too. 1. Mansa Musa. He lived from 1280 to 1337 and wealth he had more than anyone could ever describe. Mansa Musa is the king and ruler of Timbuktu. He is often called the richest person in history. Richard Smith, a Ferrum College historian, said that Musa's West African kingdom was the most prolific producer of gold in the entire world at a time when gold was very in high demand. It's difficult to give an exact figure on Musa's wealth. The records are not available, or even non-existent. There are many tales about Musa's famous pilgrimage to Mecca, during which Musa spent so much that Egypt was in a currency crisis. Smith estimates that 1 year of Malian gold production would have produced about a ton. Others claimed Musa's army was made up of 200,000 men and 40,000 archers, numbers that modern superpowers would find difficult to bring to the field. Ware says, "This is the wealthiest man anyone has ever seen. He is seen holding a cup of golden with a crown of gold and a scepter made of gold. All accounts communicate the same message. Imagine as much gold as a human being can possess, and then double it. If no one can comprehend your wealth, it means that you are pretty darn rich." If you enjoyed this video, then hit the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell icon to receive instant updates from our channel. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.